Hey, what's up, guy? Welcome back once again, friends. Today's story that we're going to explain is an Oscar-winning story, and it has been released in every country as a remake. So let's get started and find out what's special in this story. We see a girl named Suzanne waiting for her boyfriend at the station. But it gets very late and he still doesn't arrive, due to which she misses her train. After some time, Suzanne also realizes that not every promise is kept. Some people break it and leave. That's why she gets up from there and starts walking alone on the road. Today she feels very bad and sad. Meanwhile, she buys a cold drink from a shop and comes out. But after some time, she realizes that she paid for it but left the cold drink there, so she goes back. Then at the gate, she collides with a strange-looking man holding the same can that she bought. First, she looks inside and sees the counter. But no one was there, nor was her cold drink kept there, so she thinks that the same person took her cold drink, so she drinks the can and walks away. The person keeps watching but doesn't say anything. After this, she boards the bus and realizes that she forgot her wallet there. Now she goes there again, and the cashier looks at her and says, "Ma'am, you forgot it here." Then she realizes that the can she drank earlier actually belonged to the same boy. So she goes out and tries hard to find him, but he is gone. She returns to her home. In the morning, we see her entire family having breakfast together, but no one says anything to Suzanne. After this, she goes to her father's construction site, but doesn't come out because there is a lot of dust there. Actually, her father is the CEO of a construction company and is very famous in the city. He is also very hardworking, so he personally oversees his work. When they reach the top, two people are arguing. One of the men, Johnny, is a laborer who works at the same job but also studies architecture. The manager tells CEO Park that Johnny is refusing to pour concrete here. He says the site isn't strong enough to withstand the impact. Park asks him his name, and Park angrily replies, "I've told you my name many times before," and leaves. Park doesn't like this, so he starts driving away. We see Suzanne, who recognizes Johnny as the same guy who had given her a cold drink last night. Just then, her dad arrives, and he leaves. In the next scene, Suzanne is a fashion designer from Paris. Renovation work is taking a long time. She calls her dad and asks for help, as she has no other option. He agrees and says he's sending someone to her, but she shouldn't talk to him too much, as he's very smart. Shortly after, a man they sent arrives at the office, who turns out to be none other than Johnny. Seeing him, Suzanne tries to hide herself, but she doesn't even notice him. Perhaps he doesn't recognize her, so he gets back to work and starts checking the walls. Meanwhile, we see Suzanne drinking a cold drink when Johnny arrives and takes it from her hand in the same manner as Johnny did last night. He drinks it in front of her, but she doesn't say anything. After work is over, all the staff members start going home when a thief snatches her purse and starts running. Johnny sees this and opens the gate of his car, causing the thief to fall and is caught. He then returns her purse. Suzanne thanks him, but he doesn't respond. His car didn't arrive today, so he agrees to give her a lift home. However, his car was in a very dilapidated condition, but Suzanne didn't feel like it during the journey home. It went very well. As he was leaving, he apologized for yesterday, but like every other time, she ignored him. From that day on, Suzanne began to develop feelings for Johnny. She waited for him in her office for days, but he didn't show up. She even went to his side, but she felt awkward around so many workers, so she came back. That same night, she went back to the same place where Johnny and his friends were drinking. This time, he was with his friends and deliberately passed by her. Every worker looked at them, but Johnny was lost in his thoughts, so she was forced to come to him on her own. They were all sitting together, drinking and chatting. Suzanne and Johnny were sitting together. He offered her a drink and said, "If you drink this, we'll be clean for life." Suzanne asked, "If you don't, we'll be clean for life." He replied, "The opposite will happen." She did drink it, and they kissed, and this is where their love story begins. She brought tears to so many people's eyes. You two, be careful, lest you two tear up. After this, they both have a lot of fun together and have a good time. Suzanne never makes him feel like he's just her dad's worker. Perhaps this is love. One day, Suzanne is with her dad, but seeing the happiness on her face, her dad understands that something is wrong. He asks her the reason behind it, but she refuses to tell him. He asks her again, and she tells him that he's an architect whom she loves. Hearing this, her dad says, "That's a good idea, so when are you going to introduce him?" Suzanne starts laughing and blushes. Then, when she meets Johnny, she tells him that her dad wants to meet her, but he refuses because he knows the motive behind the meeting. Before he could be humiliated, he refuses, saying, "You're a princess. Your dad has so much, and I don't even have my own house. Yes, I love you very much, but no one will accept us." Suzanne tries to convince him, but Johnny is smart. He knows that all this happens in films and not in real life. That's why he refuses and leaves. But Suzanne doesn't give up. She tries to talk to him every time they meet. One day, Johnny has an interview. She designs him a blazer with her own hands, which he wears and goes for the test. When he comes out, he sees Suzanne waiting for him. After that, both of them go for dinner, where suddenly Suzanne's family arrives. She is surprised to see them and asks, "How are you all here?" Then her dad says, "Oh, you invited us." Actually, this was a plan of Suzanne's, which Johnny was not aware of. Johnny also sits quietly. Meanwhile, Suzanne doesn't feel well, so she goes out to get some freshener. During this, Mr. Perk tells Johnny, "I have recognized you, but never mind, just tell me what happened." When asked how many people are there in your family, Johnny tells him that he's an orphan. He asks another question. "Do you own a house?" He replies, "No." Upon hearing this, Perk scolds him, saying, "Whenever you fall in love with a girl, consider her status." They initially fire him from his job, but Johnny, being a kind-hearted man, apologizes to them all and promises he'll never see their daughter again. Meanwhile, we hear Suzanne scream. Her sister runs outside, revealing she's unconscious. Johnny immediately rushes her to the hospital, where the doctor explains that she's been inconsolable. When Suzanne regains consciousness, she hugs Johnny and cries profusely. Her mom and dad see her and understand that they're made for each other, so they agree to their marriage. Finally, the day arrives. They're both overjoyed, having gotten what they wanted. Johnny, too, is a successful architect. He's become a successful businessman, has a degree, a good job, and everyone has accepted him, especially Suzanne's dad. One day, while he's at work, Mr. Perk brings a businessman to meet Johnny because he'd heard a lot about him. He wanted a rich farmhouse built for him. Johnny agrees, and the next day, he shows them his model, which everyone loves. He's secured the contact, and Mr. Perk is delighted. He talks to Johnny privately, which makes Suzanne emotional, because this is what she wanted. But from here, a new plot is about to be added to the story. If everything starts going well, how can love be fulfilled? One night, when Suzanne arrives outside her house, she has forgotten which house she owns. She accidentally enters a house. Thankfully, upon entering, she finds Johnny there, and she embraces him. But this isn't the first time this has happened. It happens often these days. So the next day she goes to a doctor and tells him about her problems. He asks her if she fainted recently. She says yes, after which she tells him the story of that night. He says, "Okay, you come next week, we'll have to do something." Then she goes to the place where Johnny used to work. He's very busy. Seeing Suzanne, he drops everything and starts having fun with her. Suzanne doesn't tell him about the doctor because it would unnecessarily upset Johnny. It's not that big a deal, it's just normal. The next week, she goes back to the doctor because he called her. The doctor asks her some simple questions, like her sister's date of birth. What lights come on when we stop at a signal? But the problem is that Suzanne can't answer even one of these questions, so she undergoes all the tests. Then, from there, Suzanne comes to her office, where she sees her ex, with whom she was about to elope, but he saved her. He betrayed her and is now divorced. He asks Suzanne to come with him, but she refuses, saying that her life is now about someone else. Once home, they spend quality time together. Meanwhile, Suzanne is applying glue to a photo. She goes to get water from the refrigerator, but in the process, she forgets who applied the glue to the photo and why. Johnny asks what the doctor said. He already knows she went to the doctor today. Suzanne says, yes, they've called me next week, but this is all due to not sleeping properly, and that's okay. A few days later, we see Suzanne at the clinic, where the doctor shows her her report and tells her she has Alzheimer's. Surprised, she asks what happens. The doctor explains that a person gradually begins to forget their past, their present, and their tomorrow. Within a few years, they forget their loved ones, their family, their friends, and even their loved ones. They even forget themselves, and this is called Alzheimer's. Suzanne laughs and says, "Doctor, I'm only 27 years old. How did this happen?" He replies, "There's no age for this disease." Suzanne leaves the clinic and cries profusely. Everything was going well in her life, but now this huge problem is such that she can't handle herself. Upon returning home, she doesn't tell Johnny anything about this, simply saying she wants to quit because she doesn't feel like working. Johnny had no problem with the office, so he agrees. The next day, she stays home and does all the work. But day after day, her health begins to deteriorate. Sometimes, she even forgets basic things. For example, once, she put rice in both of Johnny's lunchboxes, which surprises him. However, she was worried about Suzanne's health and goes straight to her doctor, who tells her the truth. Hearing this, Johnny becomes extremely angry and has a scuffle with the doctor. She leaves when some doctors arrive and separate them. One explains that the doctor's wife also had the same disease and that he had treated thousands of Alzheimer's patients in his career. The doctor then explains that Suzanne has the same Alzheimer's that his wife had, and that she will gradually forget everything. Johnny is deeply saddened by this and begins to cry. We then see Suzanne, who comes out to get some things, when suddenly her health deteriorates and she collapses. A policeman arrives and picks her up and asks, "Ma'am, where are you going?" Suzanne doesn't remember why she came out or where her house is. Just then, Charles, her ex, arrives, whom she recognizes, and goes with him. Charles tells her that he wants to live like they did 2 years ago. Suzanne replies that they never met 2 years ago, and she has forgotten everything they spent together. But she also believes they are in a relationship. But suddenly she remembers that her husband is Johnny and that this man holds no meaning in her life. She leaves the house in a foreign taxi. Johnny repeatedly calls Suzanne, and someone else answers, saying they found it on the street. Johnny rushes home to find Suzanne there, but she has tears in her eyes, knowing they will soon be separated. She tells him, "I will forget you in a few days. Our love will end, so it will be better for you to leave." Johnny says, "Yes, I know you will forget everything, but I will remember everything. We will start anew every day." They embrace and cry, knowing everything is about to change. But Johnny isn't one to give up so easily. He even pasted notes all over the house to ensure Suzanne never has trouble finding anything. He even made her an ID card so she can remember it. When Suzanne asks him who he is, he asks her to come home early. He smiles and leaves. A few hours later, someone appears at the gate, who is Charles. Suzanne thinks it's Johnny, her husband. She asks him to come inside and behaves the same way she used to with Johnny. He says they should go somewhere else, so he puts his hand on her cheeks and starts taking her away. Just then, Johnny arrives and, seeing Charles, hits him hard. Suzanne thinks he's hitting her husband. She faints right there. Meanwhile, Suzanne's parents arrive. Seeing Charles's condition, they immediately send him to the hospital. They talk to Johnny at home. He tells them everything about what's happened to Suzanne. He says, "You won't be able to take care of her alone, so she'll stay with us." Then, Suzanne arrives, but she urinates while standing there. Seeing this, Johnny leaves. He immediately takes off his shirt and cleans her feet. Now Suzanne has lost control over her body. She doesn't even know what she's doing. She's stopped calling Johnny by his name because she's forgotten him. Johnny feels very bad about all this. He cries a lot, but poor thing, he can't do anything. Sometimes, when Suzanne remembers those memories, she cries a lot. One day, when she was alone at home, she writes a letter, "Dear Johnny, you took great care of me, but now I don't want you to ruin your life because of me. You're a wonderful husband, but I don't want to cause you any more pain." She leaves the letter behind and goes away. When Johnny returns home that night, he finds her letter, which leaves him devastated. He has to find Suzanne at any cost because he wants to be with her until the very end. Meanwhile, Mr. Perk shows him the divorce papers, which Suzanne gave him while leaving. He had given her a letter with her signature on it, but Johnny tore it up because nothing could separate him and Suzanne. From that day on, he searched for her everywhere, in every street, every road, and even filed a missing persons complaint. But he couldn't find her anywhere, leaving him feeling very lonely. He missed her every day. After many days, he received a letter from Suzanne, in which she had written, "Today, after a long time, I remembered you, that's why I thought I should tell you this." Johnny cried after reading it, but then he found the address written on the letter from where it was posted. He took the call and left. He saw a hospital where a nurse took him inside and told him about Suzanne. She started forgetting a lot of things. Sometimes she couldn't even remember whether she was wearing clothes or not. Meanwhile, Johnny looked at a photo of himself and Suzanne in his room. The nurse told him that she had torn all the photos but kept this one. After this, the two of them went to the hospital. They meet again, where Johnny discovers that she is trying to sketch him but is unable to. Johnny tells her that it was nice to meet her, and she asks if he knows her. Hearing this, Johnny's eyes fill with tears. He puts on his glasses to hide them, but he feels very bad. As he leaves, he tells the nurse that he will ask her to come to a place tomorrow and bring it there. In the next scene, we see the same store where they first met. Johnny recreates the scene, where everyone is present. Seeing all those things, Suzanne asks Johnny while crying, "Is this heaven?" Actually, she had remembered everything, but for how long? We cannot say, because the doctor had said that if he did something like this, she would remember some things, but after a while, she would forget everything. Just like his wife forgot everything for 3 hours. But for these 3 hours, Johnny did not separate himself from Suzanne. They both go for a drive, where they both spend good moments together, with which this story ends.